Exercise 4. In this exercise, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some more features with regards to sketching, as well as a revolve feature. Once again, actually 2 times we'll use that in this exercise. And we'll also look at the sweep feature inside Pro Engineer. So to begin, we're going to go ahead and sketch what we see here on the page 35 of your training manual. So we select once again the front plane, and maybe not a bad idea to turn on the planes. And we start a sketch. In this option, go ahead and just hit the sketch tool, so the sketch option, and we will start off by taking the line tool here and zoom up close to this, and go ahead on this corner, the intersection here, click and drag up a short vertical line. Click again, and you can zoom up a little bit further with the scroll button on your mouse and draw out a short horizontal line. Then click again, make a short little angled line and another vertical line, and contact the bottom plane with it. And then close it up. And then to stop this from sketching, just middle mouse click. The next thing we want to do is let's go ahead and draw a circle in. Take the circle tool and just right around here, go ahead and click. Okay, so basically just draw a circle approximately in that location. And then click on the select tool up here. Now we'll actually see the dimensions appear for a lot of these different features, some of which we want, some of which we don't. So we'll begin by manipulating the dimensions. First of all, we do want the height here to be approximately only 3 inches. So we could go ahead and take care of that first. So type in 3 and hit enter. Now you might see that everything else kind of gets thrown away or tangled up a little bit. That's okay. Just double click on the circle here and let's make that 1 inch. And then the location of the circle from the bottom edge, if you have this dimension, just go ahead and double click on it and type in 1.68. The next dimension we want is this one. Is going to be 0.75. And another dimension we'll have here in a moment. Let's add a couple now. We'll go to the dimension tool and we'll add a dimension between this line and the top line, and then right in this area here, click with the left or with the center button, and you should have an angle dimension there. Just leave that for right now. And then what we would like we should do here is we'll go ahead and add a dimension between this vertical line on the left and the vertical line in the center, and then click up here. Okay, I think I got all the dimensions that we want. One more. Just click on the angled line and then straight up click. Oh, actually, if you get this, it's okay. Just hit delete, and let's dimension from this line here to this point. And it will ask us to resolve another dimension. We can either delete either one. Actually, let's delete the 1.67. And then over here on the right, hit OK. And let's try and manipulate some of these dimensions. So we could go ahead and double click on this. This is going to be 1 inch. We have the angle is going to be 45 degrees. This 0.75 actually is my mistake. This actually should be the location of this from the front edge, or from this edge, I'm sorry. So double click on this. This will be 0.75. And we could actually leave this at 0.75 as well. Otherwise, you could dimension this angled line at 0.25. Lay the dimensions out as you'd like to see them once we create a drawing. And now we can trim out this intersecting geometry. So we go to the trim tool and just click and drag through to trim it out. And then go back to the select option up at the top right. And now you can move the arrows around and the dimensions. Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and revolve this. So we'll go ahead and go to the check mark right here to apply it. And we'll go to the revolve feature and select this edge as our axis of revolution. And hit the green check mark to apply. Moving along, next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and create a sketch for one of the spokes. And as you can see here on page 36 of your manual, that I have a sketch that you want to create. There's actually a horizontal line. It's about 2 inches long. It's exactly 2 inches long. A radius 0.7 and another radius that's equal to the 0.7, and then a 1 inch, or actually another line that's horizontal here. And we just are going to have to add a relationship, so we'll learn a little bit about adding constraints in this one. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and select the front plane again and start our sketch and select the sketch option here and begin to draw the lines. Click on the line tool, and right around this area here in the center off the edge, click and drag out a horizontal line. And then you can middle button click to stop it. And then what you could find here, we could find tangent arc. And unfortunately it's off the screen, but we can actually, we could use the arc tool here. So we could click on the end and drag it up. Okay. Click on the end of that one and drag it up as well. And I'll take the line tool and draw a line off of that. And you want it to be horizontal. If we move it down a little bit, you'll see a little T up here. The red T indicates that it's going to apply a tangent relationship. We could do either one. It's not giving us both because it's not perfectly aligned. So we could actually stick with the tangent relationship, the T there, and then apply a horizontal relationship in just a moment. And then middle click. Now we could go over here to the constraints. And you'll see we have, we need to add a horizontal relation. And you just click on horizontal here, click on the line, and that's it. Hit OK over here. And it looks like we have tangents between all the arcs. We can see little T's up here. And we could hit close. Now let's go ahead and dimension. This arc's going to be, or this line's going to be 4 inches. This is going to be 1 inch. This is going to be 0.7. And then this dimension here is going to be, let me check the manual, 1.67. Oh, and don't forget this one. This will be 2 inches. Again, lay them out how you would like to see them on your drawing. And now we could go ahead and hit the green check mark to apply. Okay, now we're going to create a sweep. We have the path for the sweep. Now we need to create a profile. Now to do that, we first want to go to the sweep tool. So if you look in your manual, on the bottom of page 36, it talks about sweeps using the pull-down menu. Insert sweep protrusion. Okay. So we go to Insert, Sweep, Protrusion. And we have to define it using the information that's given. Again, in your manual, it talks about it. So select the left side of the curve we just created to create the new sketch datum. So we just click near the end point and hit OK. Make sure you select the section. With the sweep, basically what you need to do is define what curves you want. And in this case, the menu manager pops up and it needs to define a trajectory. So here you could either sketch one or select one. We're going to go ahead and select the select trajectory. This will pop up a little more information on the menu manager. And from here we could go ahead and select one by one, so we could hold control and select entities, tangent chain or a curve chain. In this way, let's go ahead and just select curve chain and select geometry. Select all, we'll see a little arrow. And now we go ahead and hit done. And done again. And now we'll start a sketch on a plane attached to the curve. So from here, actually, if we rotate a little bit, now we could go ahead and begin our sketch. So I'm going to go ahead and take the circle tool and define it right at the end point of the curve and draw it out. And then take the line tool and come off of a quadrant and draw what looks kind of like a little tombstone and connect everything. Now it's very important that your sketches are all put together nicely. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and go to the select mode and grab this point, and I want to align that tangent to this circle. So we could go ahead and add a relationship or with a constraint. In this case, I'll select tangent and select the two entities. And now I could go ahead and add dimensions and relations to define it. So if we look at our manual, we need to go ahead and draw this with the 0.25 and 0.5 high from the center. So 0.25, and then we'll use another dimension. In this case, you can see there's constraint already established, L1, L1. That means that they're equal. So what we want to do, and actually that would work now that I think about it, but let's go ahead and replace that with a dimensional constraint. And it will become over define, and it will give us the option, what do we want to delete? In this case, there's lots of them. There's we're actually looking for the not the vertical, but the L1, and there we go, equal lengths. And we can hit delete and hit OK. And now we'll go to the trim tool and trim out the geometry in the center. And that should do it. Let's go ahead and hit OK here. Actually hit the check mark at the bottom right first. And hit OK. And it will perform our sweep for us. Okay, in this event, it's smaller than what I originally anticipated it was supposed to be. So apparently I must have put in the wrong parameters. So let's go back there, and this is probably defined as a radius versus a diameter. So that's easy to fix. So we could actually go into the protrusion and edit the definition. And with this box that appears, we want to edit the sketch. And we'll change this to 0.5. And this to 0.5. Hit OK. Hit the check mark and OK. And it updates. The next thing we want to do, if we look at the manual, is we want to go ahead and put a fillet on. So we use the fillet tool, and then we're going to go ahead and use the circular pattern option. So for the fillet, just go down to the fillet, select this edge, and again, remember, if you want, you could actually drag it out manually to whatever you prefer. I'll go with 0.25. And we could put fillets on the underside too. Middle mouse button will apply the fillets. Okay, the next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and pattern this. So what you can do is actually select the model, and over here on the right, you'll find the pattern tool. And over here we have dimensions, directional, or axis. We want axis. And let's go ahead and turn on our axes. And there's an axis right in the center. And the sweep is already selected for us. We could put in, if we want one every 90 degrees, let's default into that, and 4 of them. Or we could put in an explicit value perhaps. And if we don't want one, we could check one of these and tell it not to bring that in. But let's go ahead and hit the green check mark to apply. And you'll see it will bring along our features. Be sure to go ahead and add the fillets to those too, or the rounds. And then we could add the underside fillets too. 0.1. Because it's tangent all the way through, it will follow the tangent edges and complete our geometry. Now, what I'm getting here is it does not show an actual green check mark, so I can't apply something. So let's see what we can do. Perhaps we have to cancel out and add them individually. Filleting could be a tricky topic. Let's go ahead and add 0.25. And first, let's go ahead and select these edges and apply that. Now we'll go ahead and add the smaller fillets of 0.1. It's the general rule, it's not a bad idea to start with the larger fillets first and work your way down to the smaller ones. And there it is. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and create the wheel that goes around here for the handmill. So we'll select this, start our sketch. We're selecting the front datum plane. Again, just hit the sketch option. And if we look at our manual, we want to go ahead and draw a 1-inch diameter circle, 2.5 inches high on that edge. So all we do is we select the circle tool, drop it somewhere around that vicinity, and go ahead and add the 2.5-inch height, 1-inch diameter, and instead of using that dimension, we could try to use a constraint. And we could use a coincident constraint. Select the point and the edge. And now we could go ahead and revolve this. So we hit the check mark at the bottom right, find the revolve feature, and we could select the axis in the center and apply it. Finally, let's finish off with some fillets. Go to the fillet tool and select these edges to add your rounds or fillet. You can turn off your plane and your axes if you want to see this without obstructions. One last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put a hole in at the bottom. I know in terms of the exercise it says it's completed at this point, and you are completed, but there is like a hole wizard built into Pro Engineer, and it's right over here. We could go ahead and select it, and we could select what type of hole we want and the placement. Under placement, we'll go ahead and select this face, and we could go ahead and select what type of hole we want and the depth of the hole. In this case, we'll just make it 1.5 inches blind, and the diameter, we could go ahead and make this 0.5. And you'll see the options are up here as well. There's some additional properties if you want to change the name. And now under offset references, we can actually turn on our planes and lock it into our planes, and then use the dimensions that are given to locate it. And hit the green check mark. And that finishes exercise 4.